Hi everyone, it's Claudia here from Hazelhurst Art Centre. I'm an artist and art educator. Today I'd like to teach you how to make a slab pot. So the idea I had in mind was this little love heart box. And I thought it might be nice to do something like this for Father's Day, which is coming up very soon. So what you'll need, a few items. You'll need some wire to cut the clay, sponge, a cardboard template of your heart shape, a piece of cardboard as well to work on, 2 sticks of equal thicknesses, a rolling pin, a paintbrush, and a fork or something to score your clay with. So you could also use one of those kidneys, another rubber kidney as well, a stick or a putter pop stick, a needle, some clay of course, a sponge, your water, and some stamps if you'd like to decorate with stamps. So I'm just going to clear my space at the moment and then we'll get started. We're going to start by rolling out the slab of clay. So working with slabs just means working with flat sheets of clay to make an object. So I've got my rolling pin, my piece of clay, and you'll just need to have that in between your sticks and always rolling in between on those sticks. Staying on top of the sticks. That's going to ensure that you have the same even thickness and the same thickness of those sticks. So just making sure there's a gap on either side as you're rolling out the clay, because it will stretch. So I've got more clay here than I need. I run my hands across it just to feel if there's any lumps or bumps. That feels good. And just carefully pick that up. So we'll get our template. We're going to trace that with our needle. Just going to okay. We're going to place that straight onto your piece of cardboard. And just let that sit and dry for a little while. And then we're going to create the walls of our clay. So we'll need small pieces of clay, rolling that in between those sticks as well. So I've worked out the size that I will need is about 18 centimeters. And that will wrap around either side of my heart. So I'm just going to roll out another piece. Okay, great. So you could use the thickness of your rulers for the width of the walls. I'm going to use this instead. So I always lift my clay before I start to cut anything. I just need 2 strips and hopefully that's the right size that I need. Great. Okay, so now the next step is we're going to need the clay to wrap around these edges just like this. Oh great, that's perfect size actually. The one on either side. But what we need to do is create an angle. So one going this direction and then the other one, we'll just flip that over. The other one can go like that. And that way, when we join everything together, we're putting the angle on the outside, because that's then going to meet and join with the other one that we're creating. So I'm working with the clay, which is quite fresh at the moment, so it's a little bit of a challenge. You can dry it a little bit if you like with a hairdryer, or just be patient and wait for it to naturally dry. So that's actually perfect size. So just cut that angle, flip it over, cut another angle on that side. So I'm just going to work fresh, so I'll just work really carefully with it. So the next thing we need is a little bit of water. You can use your fork. I'm going to use the serrated edge of this kidney. So just a little bit of water, and we're going to score just on this edge, making it a little bit wet and sticky. So we're also going to score on the outside where they meet, making sure when you place that down, that angle is on the outside. Okay, so just a little bit of scoring on this edge here. And now join the two together. Oops. Okay, we'll let that dry a bit. Let's do the same with the other one. So I'm going to score this side. And just checking where this is going to meet. So turn that around. Okay, score just on this edge. We also have to join these angles. Just gently smudge the two together. Now, as I said, I'm working quite fresh, so it's going to naturally want to stick together. If you're finding that yours isn't adhering very well, you can actually put a little bit of coil, on this edge here, on all the edges. So that edge and all around, all around those edges. But I think I've scored it quite well. So let's have a look at one I made earlier. So with this one, what we can do now, it's dried, so it's leather hard. I'll just get a little bit of water on my brush and I can just paint inside that edge just to smooth it, make sure the join's looking good, nice and neat. So I'm going to flip this over, and what we need to achieve is we need to smooth that area so it looks like so you don't see that gap. So what I'm going to do is just grab a bit of water onto that kidney and go flush right on top of that. I'm going to fill out those gaps. So you can use some of this clay to fill it in. So making sure you don't flip this over until your clay is leather hard. So it starts to have some stability. It will feel like a hard cheese or a leather belt. I'm going to grab my sponge and just soften those edges and making sure that they look nice. Okay, and we can also use the sponge on the outside and also the top. Or you could just use your fingers, your wet fingers, to tidy that up. If you feel you need a bit of clay there to secure that join, could do that. But I think this one's joined quite well. Okay, so the last step I did was I just used some stamps to push into the clay. To make those words. So I'll let my other piece dry before I do that. And in the meantime, let's get ready to make the lid. So I'll make some space again in front of me. And we're going to roll out a base, the lid, so a flat piece of clay again, another slab. So I've got more clay than I need, so I'll cut some of this off. Making sure you roll it so that it's wide enough for your heart shape, so that we'll get our template out. You can change that direction, so you're stretching it in both directions. Okay, running my hands across it, I can feel there's no lumps. So always lifting this up so we don't stretch it later when we lift it. And what we want to do is create a lid for this, but this size of the heart will be a bit, won't fit. So we'll start by tracing this. So we have the exact measurement we need. Make sure you hold your needle upright, not at an angle. And I just want to wait for this clay to dry before we can start to sit it on top and use it as our lid. We also need another piece of clay. So I'll roll out another piece while this is drying. Okay, and this time I'm going to cut another shape. So that's just got enough for the heart. Another heart shape, which is going to sit inside the inside of that lid to stop it from moving. So that's the bigger piece, and I'm just going to cut this smaller so it does actually fit when we join the two lids together. So I'll start by just taking some of that off. And I'll adjust it as I need to make sure it actually fits on top and inside the vessel. So once everything's dried, I'm going to stick that on top and then make sure that it actually sits well inside there. So we'll come back. I'll come back later and show you how that goes. I'm just going to wait for that to dry. It's a little bit too wet to work with. So you can have a go now and just see start your box, and I'll come back and show you the second part of this, which is making the lid. So I've just been waiting for the two pieces to dry, and now what I want to do is just smooth these edges off, which I've done a little bit of. Just, you can use your fingers or the sponge. And we're making the lid, so I want to make sure that this can fit inside within this space here. So that's the front. Before you work with this, you have to have dried it quite a lot, so either hair dry it or wait for it to naturally dry. I would like it to not have so much flexibility but still be moist, so be very careful with how you handle it now, because it's no longer flexible. So I've just flipped this over because that's going to be the inside, and I've also flipped, no, this one goes this way, I believe. No. So I'll just do a little bit of trimming because I think it's still too big, slightly. Okay, that's better. I'll trim this bit here. Soften it. Okay, so that's going to sit within there, that area. So I'll just trace where I'm going to join the two pieces. And now I'm going to score them together, so I'll need some water. I've just flipped it over because that's the two pieces that are going to join. Make it nice and wet and sticky. Create that slurry, that paste, which is the glue that will stick it all together. And same within here, just score within those lines, all different directions. Using water. Okay, so once you've got a nice creamy sticky slurry there, we'll join the two pieces together. I like to get my paintbrush and just tidy up those edges, or I could do it with my sponge. And I'll just test to see if it fits. Beautiful. We want a little gap because later we might glaze this, and there'll be a thickness of glaze in there. Okay, and then you have your lovely little heart box. So I'm just going to let this dry separately for a little while till it stiffens up a little bit more so it doesn't sag. But there you have it. So I hope you have fun trying that out today. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.